Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Winter Wolf here, King Z in the B-hole chair as usual. And it's that time we have to say goodbye to Hawkins, Indiana. That's right. Stranger Things had its series, not its season finale last night. It was a 2-hour special edition there that dropped about 8, 9 o'clock Eastern last night. So before it gets spoiled immediately for you by us or anybody else, King Z's going to hit our thing. And, if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out, bookmark us, come back, check us out later because we're going to dive into the nitty gritty as old time fans of the show. I think we both have a lot to say about it. So, Kingsy, hit him with the thing. Ooh, do the thing.
Yeah, we're also going to dive in deep of what the series overall, not just the finale.
Get back.
You have been warned.
You did. I mean, they've been warned. We've done all we can do for folks, and I think
Yeah.
that's about all we can handle on our edge. Once again, we are going to cut right deep into it. I think
Ye of
maybe we can
little
give you
faith, do not enter forth.
right. Do not. Maybe we give people a few minutes worth of spoiler-free coverage, and then just say, "Hey, here comes the deep cut stuff." Why don't you give me the no spoiler take on this last episode? Just what did you like? What didn't you like? If you want to get that deep, was it an effective wrap up? That's kind of going to be the big question we're going to have to butt heads against as we go, I'm sure. But what do you think?
Overall, it was a fun watch still. Like these characters you cared about, we've watched them for 9 years, 5 seasons, and you just want to see how it wrapped up. I have my issues with the Duffer Brothers going into these later seasons. I still think they're pretty smart, and I've liked what they've done. It just certain creative decisions I would say I would have gone different with. But overall, I think it was a send off. Maybe not worthy of what the first season was, but it is a send off. It's an end, and it was a cultural phenomenon. So watching the actual end when it dropped was pretty cool, I have to say.
Yeah, it's always nice to be there at the beginning and the end and sharing the water cooler talk,
Mhm.
such that is even though they invented the binge model, so it's kind of tough to do that when people are watching. That's why I hate that when they're watching stuff. When people are watching stuff at different intervals, it's tough to do that whole. Oh, dude, did you see that? Did you see Game of Thrones Sunday night at 9 on HBO?
Mhm.
One episode, and people, oh my god, I can't believe he died. Like, there's something to be there's value in that I think you lose that in the binge model. Squid Games notoriously, I think, was like that. That could have been even bigger had 10 trillion people been watching that at the same time.
Hmm.
So I think they've reversed course on that a little bit. As other streaming things that come online, Stranger Things got the content dropping in bunches this time, so you needed 2 months worth of the subscription to make this stick. People had time to digest it and get into it. But specifically for last night, dude, I think I made it about 15 minutes and I was like, warning lights are just popping across the mental HUD all over the place for me. And I think I even messaged you at that point. I was like, nope, this isn't going well. And then by like the 45-minute mark, I think I was like, Game of Thrones is off the hook
Mhm.
as having the worst landing ever. I think I've softened on that a bit. I got up, went to work, quiet day at work, so I had YouTube on in the background. It's very rare at this gig that I can do that. I listened to some other points of view on the ins and outs of the show, and I might be a little softer on it. It might not be as bad as Game of Thrones, but it's still bad. I think it's as a send off. The last 15 minutes, I guess, are okay, but literally that gave us still an hour and 48 minutes of more of the same trite feelings while walking, feelings at the radio station, do something, do anything interesting. It's a show about kids with telekinetic abilities and extra dimensional portals. Why am I bored? Why is this a thing now? That was never the case before. Even the dog shit that you find in season 2 and 3, it was never really boring. It was nonsensical, but it never bored me, dude. I've been bored all season long after like episode 1. It's not been fun for me. Um, the actors are still. I think it's more of like I like the characters. I don't necessarily like all the actors portraying a bunch of these roles. I think they turned it on in spots last night, especially in those last couple of scenes where it's probably the last scenes we saw were probably the last scenes they filmed because everybody got equally emotional tearful as they were, as they were walking off the stage for the last time. So I think that might have been the last thing they filmed. That might was probably on purpose.
I
Had
would
to
like to
capture that.
see some of those days on production because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when an actor raps the show, like that's a when they call it a picture rap on a
Yep,
certain actor, like everyone gets around, they applaud,
yeah.
they say a
Big
speech, and
deal.
then they head
Big
off.
deal.
Yeah, I could see the tears on
Mhm.
like when they had the was it Sadie, Robin, Nat, uh, I'm forgetting their names already. Steve and
Yeah.
Jonathan. There we go. When you had those 4 up on the roof, and that
Oh,
if
yeah,
that was
yeah,
the
yeah,
last
yeah.
thing they shot, and then they did the
Mhm.
picture wrap right after that.
Yeah, of course. That was
Oh,
because that was
yeah.
their out, right? That's what in the D&D game, you know what I mean? Like, that's
I knew
you could
that was
tell
gonna
the
happen. I
yeah,
knew
no,
that
for
was
sure.
gonna
Of
happen right from the
course.
beginning.
Of course, I don't think that's not even I wouldn't even need the spoiler alert to cover that, like, that was obviously coming. You could tell that the emotions run high, and I get that. These are roles that these people have been in now, some of them for, like, 10 years. You know what I mean? This is and for a good number of them, this is kind of like what they've done so far, like, not everybody is David Harbour is gonna be in, like, the next crappy Thunderbolts movie, not everybody's Winona Ryder that's had a career that spanned 3 decades or 4 decades or however long she's been around. So the bunch of these kids, this was like breakout roles, MBB, breakout
Yeah,
role.
yeah.
So
And I think,
I get that.
out of this season, the breakout one is gonna be, Delightful Derek, that
Yeah,
actor.
but I mean, but yeah, we could talk about Double Deuce for a minute there if you want. Like, does that shtick get old? I mean, there are a lot of roles out there for chunky, heavy kids in 2025. This ain't the 80s. Ain't nobody gonna make the truffle shuffle a thing again, Goonie style.
But
I don't
I
know.
think they're like, the way he portrayed himself, like, when you see him in interviews and, like, how he
Not
said he
that
was
kid.
in yeah, he's not that kid at
Yeah.
all. Like,
Good for him then.
he said his mom was on set and he was
Uh-huh.
embarrassed that he had to cuss
Yup.
and stuff like that, so
I could see that. I could see that. That'd be like having your first, like, kiss on camera, you know what I mean? Like, that's just
yeah,
awkward stuff. So, kudos to him for being able to pull off that level of, like, dick-headedness in a young kid. Because
yeah,
usually those kind of kid characters annoy me. Like, you gotta be funny within the dickishness, and he
mm,
is. Erica
mm,
was not when they
mm.
introduced her. She was just a precocious one. There
She
wasn't
was
anything
just
funny about her. She was just a
yeah,
snot,
yeah, she
you
was
know?
just Lucas's annoying younger sister.
Right, right. They gave delightful Derek. I'll stick with that. They gave him a
Mhm,
little bit of personality to play with, and it's kind of funny because
yeah.
it is kind of funny when it's all
And like how
screwed
they
up
had to
to a
change him.
nerd.
We don't need dipshit Derek.
Yeah.
We need delightful. And he's like, we need delightful Derek.
Right, right.
And
So it's,
then
it's
and
that
then
again.
later
That's
it's like,
alone.
I'm delightful Derek now. He's like, no,
No,
we
don't
need
need that.
dipshit Derek.
We need him back. Right. So, and then, yes, again, there's a couple of like as far as like the whole season went. That's a bright spot. I guess having that kind of character that lends some necessary comic relief and a little in your face attitude, courtesy of the '80s, because that's how that was. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, dude. Broadly speaking, right for last night's 2-hour run, I feel like by the time I hit that halfway point, and you guys have been warned for spoilers, the final battle comes at like the 44-minute mark, and then literally the rest of the episode is the Lord of the Rings extended trilogy, multiple endings that I just didn't care about for everybody except Hopper and Joyce
You mean
and the
the
core group.
hour and 44-minute mark?
Dude, no, the final battle of Vecna absolutely took place at like 44 minutes.
No, it
And then,
was because I got up and
dude,
used the
yes, it was.
bathroom. They
Dude,
got
I'll go back. Dude, I'll run tape right now. It was before the hour mark that they were battling in the abyss. And that's why I sent you that message, which I have time stamped. That's the exact moment that I sent you that message. Now, that head might have got hacked 10, 15 minutes later, but the battle started at 45 minutes in.
oh, are
And
you
I
talking
was
about
like,
are you talking about the battle began when he gets pulled from the spell? Is that when you're counting when the battle started?
I'm talking about when 11 showed up and started throwing hands. It was like 46 minutes. Yeah.
Mm,
Either which way, you got an hour, and at the final hour of this show is wrap up and resolution, right? Like, okay, so you built the season where everybody had time to stand around and talk shit to each other and make sure we checked every box we needed to check emotionally. And then we had to make this big push into extra dimensional space to kill the bad guy. We walked across the desert, found his castle, did all kinds of gangster shit. None of that was interesting to me at all. At all. Even the final throwdown itself, I thought was super underwhelming. Like we've seen 11 and Vecna do this like 2, 3 times now. Like the psychic battle at each other. They needed to up that. There needed to be something new. There needed to be some new techniques thrown in there. I don't know what they could have done. That's their job, not mine, to fix it for them. But we've seen that battle. That I can force hold you, you can force hold me, and the backhanded bitch slap that he always hits 11 with because you can never actually injure her. I was just wicked underwhelmed by that. I don't know if you had a different take on that fight, but I
Yeah,
was
I
super
mean,
super bored.
what else would you expect? That's who
Be
they are.
creative, dude. Dude, use your writer brain. You mean to tell me that in every X-Men comic, when they bring in Jean Grey with her telekinetic ability, it always goes the same way? No, they
Yeah, it
sprinkle
really
some new
does.
shit. No, dude, they sprinkle some new variations on that shit, especially for big fights. Especially, let 11 go Dark Phoenix then. Let her do something big we haven't seen her do on Vecna. Nope.
But where in the lore, this is what you're talking about with the spin-offs when we were talking about this earlier, is like
Mm.
you're going to destroy the lore that way because you have to add new stuff, but it would
Build to
destroy
it.
the lore.
No. You expand upon lore with natural increments that build on that which you have already.
Where have we seen that in any of them who develop more powers than they actually have?
Dude, she did in this already when they were breaking out of the wormhole the first time, and she's throwing up force shields to stop debris from crushing people. Had she done
She
that before?
she didn't throw
I
up
don't
force
remember
shield.
that.
She was pushing them away.
But I thought at a couple places they had some graphic effects that were like domes of energy that were protecting small shit
No,
from coming. I have to go back and review that. I don't know. I don't think that's accurate. But I think there's
no.
there's mechanisms for that. If she's all up in Vecna's mind, they could have done enough work in those first 9 episodes, 7 episodes, whichever, to get me to a place where they could explain why there's an increase in power level for this situation. And it would have
That's
felt
like
earned had they worked towards it.
it's like saying Professor X can move metal because he hangs out with Magneto enough.
That's X-Men. This is different. It doesn't have to have X-Men rules.
No,
And
but
they
like
could write it in a way that I think it works.
then you're gonna have to expand the lore, and you would need more episodes to actually
Dude,
explain
but
it.
dude,
But
no, you
each
had 8 episodes of characters that nobody gives a shit about taking over main character roles like Robin and Holly, where those could have been 11 Vecna and Mike episodes that might have explained a power increase.
but
But, we didn't have
how?
that.
You know that she's made from the blood of Henry.
Mhm, mhm.
So and name one other the of the numbered kids that have more than one ability. Henry doesn't
But
even have more than one ability.
true, but maybe there's something unique about 11 being in the abyss. I don't know.
A
There's
copy
there's ways, dude. It's
a co
fantasy. There's ways we could work
a
on that.
copy of something is never more powerful than the original.
I don't know. That's like saying that the sum of all parts, yada yada yada. Like I think there's ways, dude. It is fantasy to make it as long as it's internally consistent with how
You would have to start that in the
any of that
3rd
energy level
season
works. Oh, good, do that, but you didn't do that, you jackasses. You wasted all of our time doing other
because
stupid shit. That's my point.
they stuck to their guns of what they wrote. They're not gonna sit
I
there
don't.
and
I don't think they
change
had a
their
whole. I
I'm
don't
not
think they
gonna
had a
write
lot of
my
that planned
magic
out.
system in my book and then have someone complain about like, "Oh, they only did this, I'm gonna have to change my whole magic system." No, it's my magic system. If you're gonna
Right, but
read
then
my
you have,
book, you're gonna
but
enjoy
then
the
you're
magic system I made.
for sure. But then you're required to do interesting things with it every step of the way. And for the finale battle, there was nothing engaging about that at all. Not at all.
With a telekinetic, all you're gonna be able to do is push each other and push items at each other.
Dude, then have her throw some fucking rocks at him, dude.
She
I don't
threw
know
a
what to
rock
tell you.
at the mind flare.
Which then she should have broken one of them, couple of them smaller spikes off inside and fucking slung them. There was stuff they could have done. It was 2 backhands apiece, and then other people showed up, and here we are. An hour's worth of goodbyes. That's the episode, guys. That's the whole fucking
It
thing.
was less than an hour of goodbyes.
Boring. And it should did too boring for a series finale, man. Too effing boring. Too effing boring. But there's a lot of other stuff to pick apart there too. But we don't need to be all dour on the whole thing because you said you had some net takeaway positives. I have a couple too. But why don't you give me something that you liked about last night's episode specifically?
The thing that I liked that I thought it was a great series wrap up. Like there are no loose ends. And the
Mhm.
other thing I really liked was the very end where Michael's
Yeah,
walking up the stairs and
that's
then
on my
Holly and
list.
her friends run down
That's on my
and
list with the
and pick
star
up where
next to
they
it.
left off.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I love torch passing in those kind of stories that let you. Like even my son said, the kids were going downstairs to play because the game's not really over. I'm like, Nicely done, son. Nicely
The
done.
the game's
Yep,
never over. That's the great
that's
thing about
right.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
The
Yeah,
game is
the
never over.
campaign just keeps moving, right?
Yeah.
So that's I mean, in that way, for sure, that felt good. I did. I'll add to that. I like the Joyce Hop final wrap up, especially because it references a certain location in New York,
Yeah.
which I'm like, can we make that show? I will watch that show. Like Hop doing some X Files shit right next to another government facility. Like, oh, this again? Like I
Yeah.
could watch that, you know. Because he gets the proposal, she accepts. He's like, oh yeah, I got a job offer from a friend, the mayor of a little town in New York called Montauk. I'm like, oh snap,
Mm.
we're going mobile, we're going east. Like I could watch a season of that as a quick spinoff, you know. So there's those two parts of the wrap up are good, definitely.
I also like the ambiguous ending of what happened to 11. There is no true
Mm.
answer.
Yeah, not a fan. That's not on my fan list. That's very Dark Knight Rises to me, and I didn't like it there either. Like, just let her make the sacrifice. Just let her do it. Let her own it. Let people and then have Mike tell the story of I choose to believe that she got out, but they threaded it in a way as somebody showed me in the still shots that like when she's standing in the gateway, there's frames of her hands flickering. So they do tip their hand that was an illusion, that Mike's version of what happened is correct.
No, because
That
the
it's
Duffer
less
Brothers
ambiguous.
themselves said that it is
It
ambiguous. They
then
do
why
they,
they
there,
then
there
why do
were
they shoot her hand fading?
because of the CGI behind it and the green screen, and they just might have made a mistake in the
I
editing.
don't know, dude. That looked an awful lot like the actual
No,
optical effect they
they
used to
said
veil
that
shit though. Did they say it?
neither of the endings are correct. They
Okay.
are not telling
Listen,
us what
as long as
happened.
they said that, fine. But
Yeah.
know this, people watching our video, there are absolutely other content creators out there that'll point you in the direction of saying, "Hey, look at her hand. It starts to dip and fade, like all the other illusions that Callie casted had faded." So there you go. Like if it looks legit, people are gonna cling to that and be like, "I don't know.
And
Seems like
that's
she's
the
alive for
thing
sure."
they wanted with the endings for people to
Yeah,
argue over it for
yeah.
years, like, what's in
No,
the briefcase in Pulp Fiction?
yeah. No, I
W
want the ambiguity if you want that, but you can't then tip the scale one way or the other. Like you have to go right down the middle for the ambiguity. So if you actually shot the illusion crumpling in the gateway in the portal, you kind of belying the fact that Mike's version of the story is the truth. You know, like that
and
is the way it happened.
and,
But I get why they want ambiguity, sure.
yeah. But, yeah, they said that neither one they're not answering the question of which one is right, that it is
Yep.
meant to be ambiguous.
And I get the appeal of that because at the end of the day, I think that probably that works for more people than it don't work for. I'm a big fan of, dude, let Batman die in Dark Knight Rises. Like, it's okay for that version of Batman to die saving Gotham. Like, I don't need for him to maybe be at a diner in Belgium later with his girlfriend and then Alfred sees him. Like, I don't need that. You know what I mean? Just let the heroic sacrifice thing be a thing. That's okay. Yeah, so I wasn't really super sold on that. That last campaign is on my positive list. I'll talk about that for a minute. I like that the story, the campaign they were playing mimicked the events of things that they had gone through, like in the
Mhm.
last real life kind of adventure. That was kind of fun. The actors absolutely sold it there, especially when they win, and Max is like, "Really? That's it? That seems kind of trite. Like I thought you
I
were
thought you're the
good at
great
this. I
storyteller.
thought you were a great storyteller. That's what I heard." And then he's like, "All right, well here we go. Get ready to cry, bitches, because it's coming."
And
And then
I
he
liked
kind of
how
breaks
that's
them
like
down.
how them 2, like, Lucas and Max ended up
Yeah,
together, and then the
yeah,
other 2 are going off to college, and
mhm,
they find places that, they fit in, and they still have
yeah.
time for adventure, and then he talks about himself where he just keeps telling stories, and is there
I like
on the
that.
keyboard writing the books.
I like that. I thought that's a logical out from Mike in that world. You know what I mean? That's good. Like he'll grow up and move on and live his life, but like he'll always remember, Hawkins. Like he'll
Mhm.
be who's the kid for the kid that never left Derry. Like he'd be he's that kid. Like he probably won't leave Hawkins. You know what I mean? It'll be
Mike.
him. Mike. There you go. Forgot his name. Yes, I like that last campaign. The actors absolutely sold that shit. Um, a lot of that in that moment worked for me. I did like their little wrap up action of each of them putting their folder on the shelf.
Mhm.
Like that's the last campaign they played. Like, they did the whole, one day you'll go in the house from hanging out with your friends and you won't ever hang out with your young friends again kind of thing. That's that.
Mhm.
100% that was that. Like, they put that stuff away and moved on.
It was like this
Cool.
it's the same story you get with the
Yeah,
adult
yeah,
now,
with the older
is that
kids.
they plan on seeing each other
Yeah,
once every month, and we all
never
know that's
happening.
not gonna happening.
Never happening, ever.
Yeah.
Which again, I get you. They all grew up and went their different ways, and again, they all sound logical to those characters. You know, Jonathan grows up and becomes a anti-consumer, anti-cap, or no, pro-consumer, anti-consumer, anti-capitalist filmmaker at NYU. Like, I get that.
Yeah, it's
I knew
the
he was kind of a commie douche.
anti-capitalism
Cannibal
cannibal
movie or something.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, I get it, like, 'cause he was probably a commie douchebag anyway, that's fine. Nancy takes another reporter job as an intern at another paper.
at a
Like,
bigger paper,
alright,
though.
at a bigger paper. Yeah, true, I mean, true, it's not Hawkins, it's fucking Boston Herald, so, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
there's that. So she's doing that thing. Steve's a teacher. I mean, I guess that's a natural progression of the guy they kinda built him
He's a
into.
coach who has to teach, set said. Come
It's
on.
the same thing. He's in the school system, right? And then Robin, who is back on the radio part time, who makes a statement like she's got an overbearing partner. I'm like, okay. I mean, I didn't like Vicky. I thought she was just about as pointless as any other side character they wrote. I could see her being overbearing. I could see that. But yeah, you're right. Dude. The four of them commiserating on the roof about how, I don't think things will ever be the same. I'm like, obviously, bro, you just fought fucking Spider Godzilla in a different dimension. Of course, things aren't the same.
Yeah.
And they were just, and again, they're just up there too long doing their thing. Like, I just didn't care about any of those characters by season 5 because they had, besides Steve, they haven't been interesting in 3 years. That's my rough take on their kids. Performances are fine, but pointless. Just a time suck.
I
What
don't
did you
think
think of the
so.
rooftop? Are you down with the rooftop?
Yeah, I loved all the wrap ups. I thought it was perfect. The
Mm,
Dustin speech at the graduation, the rooftop where we find out, Steve's a baseball coach.
yeah,
It all ties together. A lot of the stuff that was laid down in season 1 and season 2.
yeah. A lot of good
Uh,
callbacks.
yeah,
Lot of good callbacks for sure.
yeah. And then of course Dustin's speech evens up to what Eddie wanted to do
Mhm,
when he graduated,
yeah.
but he never got to because he died. So like flipping the principal of the
Now,
bird and
see,
grabbing his
I'm glad
diploma and running.
I'm glad you mentioned that because when I saw that scene, I had totally forgot that those were things Eddie said that he
Mhm.
would do if and when, right? So
Yeah.
when they happened, I'm like, wait, when did Dustin become not like the biggest nerd in school, favored by all the teachers and the faculty? Like, what is this antipathy he has for the principal? Like, this is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like, where did this come from? I don't remember that from season 4. And then, like you just said, like it dawned on me later. It's like, no, it was honoring Eddie's memory of stuff that he would have done. He would have flipped in the bird and flipped the table over and been like, dude, fuck the establishment, like that kind of thing.
That's
That's the guy
exactly
he was.
he had
Right.
those lines in the
Yeah,
season
no,
4.
that's what I mean. Like, I had forgotten that and had to go back and follow up on that lead when someone mentioned it.
Yeah.
And like, okay, that makes more sense because that whole scene, I'm like, I don't get, dude, I get it. You're changed. I get that. But I don't think you're a ginormous dickweed to like fucking people that have like guided you through your high school career. I don't think you're
Mm.
that guy. But you cut your hair out of Eddie haircut mode too, by the way. So I mean, you're kind of. I think that was the visual cue that he had returned somewhat to a state of normal. But what I liked about that graduation scene though is Teddy Wheeler's alive,
Yep.
ladies and gentlemen. Teddy Wheeler's still alive.
Yeah, we
Had
got
one
no
line.
word.
Had one word.
Yeah.
Language. That's it.
Yeah.
That was fun. It was good to see him alive. But again, I'm like, cool, great, fantastic. I did like, and because I'm a fan of bookends and callbacks and things. The girl that came over to talk to Dustin is the girl that shot him down at the snowball dance 3 seasons
Mhm.
ago. I'm like, hey, she looks familiar. And I think the 3 girls behind her were also those other catty girls that were in the patty cake club, to
Yeah.
coin the term from Welcome to Dares. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. So again, nice little mini callbacks there. And another one is before the big D&D game, they open up the opening shot on the Wheeler house from the sprinkler view up was like how the show started. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm with that. I like that.
And the thing
Basic stuff.
is, they wrapped up that campaign with enough time to get over to the party they were just invited to.
Seriously, I mean, it was like, yeah, because I mean, otherwise, how would Holly have a group of 12-year-olds over to play D&D? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That shit was over at like 4.
Yeah.
So yeah,
They
they
had
probably
plenty
still
of
went to the
time to
party.
get over there.
They probably still went over, and I'm okay with that. There's a bunch of other stuff though that unfortunately come down on the negative list. I think I got one that I can pin even you down on this
Okay.
one, honestly, right? So buckle up on this one, right? So they drive through the army base because they open the door, almost get a soldier shot. They think he's a traitor. It's kind of funny, right? They drive into the Upside Down. They do all their shit.
Mhm.
They drive the survivors, which is everybody because the show doesn't have the stones to kill anybody.
Yep.
They all come out of the Upside Down, out of the abyss, or however that all works. That's all gets convoluted in my head anyway. But they basically egress back into the army base, into the clutches of the military, who are all waiting for them to come out because why wouldn't they be?
Smart move
And
to put the roll strips down.
saying to brilliant move, and then a perimeter of the sonic blaster things.
Mhm.
Yep, that's what you should do, right? So everybody gets taken into custody. We cut to black after 11 disappears, and then we cut back 18 months later. Why are none of them at Guantanamo?
Because there
Did
was
they
no
just decide-
Guantanamo. This is 1989.
Pick your black site. You know what I mean.
Because they
taken
can't.
into custody. Why? Why? You just killed a bunch of fucking soldiers on an army
no.
base.
They did
You're
do
going,
that.
You're going to jail. You are terrorists publicly, easily.
Well,
right?
technically, they killed them in another dimension, so they're not accountable to
I don't know,
to U.S.
man.
law.
I don't know, dude. You kill a soldier on leave in Japan, you're still facing some kind of charges or some shit. Dude, it's ludicrous to think that the army just fucked off. You never see Sarah Connor.
Well, you would have to think about
ever.
all the laws that they broke. It was pretty much you go your way, we'll go our way.
Dude,
None of this happened.
I don't know. That is the biggest bit of copium I've ever heard you spit on this channel. They were on an army base doing army base shit. They arrest terrorists coming out of whatever they wanted to frame that as. They didn't have to say, they'd be like, hey, they broke into the base. We captured 18 of them. They shouldn't fucking be here. That's all that ever needs to be said about that. But then like a year and a half later, they're just gone. Why are they gone? Why is the research over? They can't do anything else on that base. Hawkins doesn't still have shit that needs to be sorted out. We don't need to sort any of this shit out.
They're not there to sort it out. They were there to capture 11 and restart the program.
But all
that was their whole purpose.
But dude,
11 doesn't.
Dude, they got a $10 trillion research facility in Hawkins that they can still use. Like we're just going to leave. Why are we leaving? There's more work to do. Do something else. Remember, it started with exotic matter. It didn't start with 11. They were doing other shit. That research is done.
But that was Hawkins' lab. That had nothing to do with the military.
I mean, they were Department of Energy and had military details guarding their gates and shit.
Actually, Department of Energy has its own military. It's not the military. Yes, we have two nuclear facilities here, and they're Black Army. They have Army vehicles, but they are not Army or Navy or any other type of branch. Department of Energy has their own security force.
Good to know. I'm still saying they incarcerate every one of these bitches. Sorry. They can shut the base down. They're still incarcerated schools, but it's literally like they jump 18 months into the future and nobody has suffered any consequence at all.
If that happens, the general should be arrested for kidnapping. All of the soldiers there have violated their oath by
kidnapping.
Yes, kidnapping
or acting under orders during quarantine and like martial law in a town that was
still kidnapping if you hold someone against their will. And remember, 8 wasn't in Hawkins.
I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about the 13 kids that I thought.
But it was still the same people.
Dude, if I say I got to remove your kid, and they told them, hey, we're going to take your kids further into the base from Hawkins for their protection. Parents let them go to put them on them buses. That's not kidnapping. They might have lied. They might have stretched the truth.
That's still kidnapping. If I come up and say you're selling candy and I kidnap your kid, it's still kidnapping. It's still kidnapping.
Let me break this down.
You want to argue the law with me?
Dude, let me break you down on this one, right? So I got pink fissures in the ground all around my town, and the army's put steel plates over them. In the last 2 months, we've got 40 other people gone missing. We've got reports of demon dogs running around the fucking streets. Yes, you can borrow my kid to an army base to keep him safe for a hot minute. That's what any rational being would do in 1988, 89. Now, 2025, we're like, fuck them hoes. I'm not getting another booster shot. That ain't happening. But in 89, they're putting them kids on that base for their own protection legally.
And technically that was 88 when the events happened. Because remember, it was 18 months later when they were class of 89.
That's right. They were 89. But yeah, no, I didn't like the army disappearing. I thought that was just a weak way to just like dude, that's the problem. There's no
the mission
there's no consequence here. But they do it again. Take the fucking prisoners. Explain some shit. Where did they go? How? What about General fucking K? She just can't be in the fucking win. She needs to be made to answer for all the atrocities that you just talked about.
So you want to add another hour to watch her trial?
No, I want 11 to step out of a portal behind her in her fucking office and fucking tear her half. Do something. Dude, not even the bad guys get the consequences in this show this season. The closest thing they got to a consequence was Scarface getting the gun turned on himself. And I don't even remember his name, so I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing mattered. Like,
They
there's no
killed
punch to
Vecna. They
any of
cut his
this.
head off.
Let's talk about the stupidity of that scene. Let me guess. This is one of your favorites. We're going way different on this show. Believe that. Dude, I thought that was the cringiest thing they've done. Like, you brought 87-year-old Joyce on this mission with that with the lumberjack axe just to do that. She hadn't spoken a word in 4 episodes, right? I mean, minus the coming out thing. And she trekked across the desert to chop this dude's head off when he was down, when he was impaled. So she could do the Vin Diesel thing. So she could be Toretto. I don't need kids. I got family. Like, whatever she said. Right. And I'm like, I get what they wanted. Again, I get what they wanted to do. They wanted that cliptage. Every act strike brings in the flashback to Bob Newby, to the other terrible things that happened that he was responsible for. I get it. But I'm like,
you know who
I guess
wasn't in that? Alexi. Alexi got no.
Dude, I was gonna say, I forgot his name. That's why I didn't say it. But the Russians killed him. He wasn't a Vecna death. He was shot.
Well,
that's why he wasn't there.
Everything that happened is technically
true. It's all real. Yeah.
True, yeah, I mean, we're going by COVID rules here, aren't we? Like, if I had COVID and I got shot 3 times in the chest, it was a COVID death.
Statistic. I mean, obviously, motorcycle wreck, died to fucking COVID death, bro.
Yeah,
facts, and let's not try to hide like they didn't do that. They did that. I saw it. I was there. Yeah, dude. I thought that was that was like guffaw, like laugh out loud, because the minute his mouth starts twitching, the next frame is it's a close up on her, and I'm like, oh, that's why you're here.
Well, she was the emotional support for Will when he fell to his knees, when he reconnected.
For sure. I'm just like, it's, you know what it was? It was a less cringe, but almost as cringe version of Karen Wheeler blowing up the laundromat. Like, she was there, so you had to have her do something. Like, literally, and I hate to be that guy. I'm gonna do it, right? Did any male character in this episode, besides Murray, who grenaded a helicopter, which was badass, right? Yeah. Did any of the boys do anything worth a damn?
Jonathan with his endless flamethrower.
Endless flamethrower was good. I would argue that's more of the magic item of the flamethrower +3 being great. Pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
Basic Lucas having slingshot water balloons with gasoline. Basic, don't care. You know what I mean? You got Joyce
the underbelly of the
just poking it with chopsticks. And I have a tie-in for that. Hold on, I'll get to this. But the boys, right? The core group, the kids that figured out all the shit in season 1 when nobody knew what was going on, right? Account for like nothing meaningful going into the end. Like, they're just along for the hike. Rambo Nancy's doing Rambo Nancy shit. She outran a fucking kaiju into like a desert crevasse, and somebody explained to me how the rest of everybody cleared that distance and scaled the mountain range.
That was one of my nitpicks.
That's kind of dumb. But so you got Nancy doing that. Robin's a bit of a floor general. We get them assembling the A Force at one point. You got Max 11 and 8 or whatever her fucking name is.
Like Callie.
I know her name. I'm just calling her 8. I don't care. And dude, I know now why they brought her back. Side note, it's because that was the only person they had the stones to kill. It had nothing to do with any of that bullshit of her being in the lab powering the defenses. It's because we know we need to drop somebody. It gonna be her, because we don't have the stones to kill anybody else. Yeah, like, but the boys literally had no play at all. Like, Will had another good delay on Vecna in that exchange, but really the fellas did nothing. Hop went out Wick for a minute. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, when he did the 8 rescue.
Yeah, that was pretty slap. I was okay with that, but it was literally 15 seconds and they got kicked in the face.
I mean, what do they teach the chief of police in these small towns?
Dude, he was Spec Ops in Nam, though. Remember that from CIC? He was Spec Ops in Nam. He picked up some shit in the jungle for sure. But yeah, you're right. Like, these
skills, not just malaria.
You're right. Some of those skills probably deteriorated over time. Over a decade of not being used. But that's how that goes. Yeah. So I thought the boys were underwhelming. It's nice to see them give Mike some kind of interactions with 11. Lucas is just basically Max's boy toy. There's really nothing interesting there. Dustin is Dustin. That was the only decent arc of the four original characters, I think. Playing
I
through to
mean,
the
Mike
end.
Mike got the flare gun. Soon
After
as
he bitch whined and cried about it, which was funny.
when I
I'll give him
saw
that.
her hand him that gun, I'm like, "That's a flare gun." And then
Yep.
then Lucas comes up, he's like, "Dude, that's a flare gun."
Mm-hmm. Which brings me to the thing I was just thinking of a minute ago, right? So you and I are suiting up, we're hatting up, kitting up to go on an extra dimensional extermination run. We
Yep.
actually have a hideout that has an arsenal on the wall. Why are you bringing the only gun? Why did everybody just not grab some shit? Why are we bringing the slingshot with the gas balloons? Why? We know they had the guns down there. We knew they had explosives. They took them all to the other place. Seriously. Why are we going in there with pointy sticks? They're not even real spears. Fucking hockey sticks with fucking knives on them.
Because that was
What are we
what
doing?
him and Eddie had.
No, don't care. Bring the guns. Bring the fucking guns. Again, this is an end of the world, all hands on deck situation. Give Joyce a gun. She's useless with that axe in every situation. What the fuck? Like, bring the guns, guys. It's the 80s. You can do that. You know, I just thought that was odd. And by extension there, where is literally every monster in the Upside Down and the Abyss this season?
We saw them die in volume 2. Remember, they all became smoke and went up.
In volume 2. Oh,
Yeah,
wait. In batch 2 of the episodes?
yeah. They turned into that smoke like what Holly threw up like 3 times, and they went up the tower into the.
From the Upside Down, when they're in the Abyss, like, is there just nothing there? Because all of these things came from the Abyss and got stuck in the Upside Down. Like, they all derive from where the Mind Flayer derives from. But they literally walked across open ground in broad daylight. Maybe they got my memo. And no result. There's just remember when the Upside Down was dangerous? You know what I mean? Like season 1, like if you went into the tree and followed Nancy in, it was some sketchy shit.
Yeah, they killed a lot of them, though. I mean, eventually, we don't know their reproduction habits. We don't know how
You're
long
saying they cleared the server. They cleared the server. We don't know what the respawn timer is on getting more demodogs in the Abyss. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe, I don't know. I just thought that was odd.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, there's like nothing here. Do they hide during the daylight?
Dude, but see, that had Dustin said that and been like, hey, you know, these things are like this thing from D&D. They don't come out during the day. And then, we got delayed here and the fucking sun goes down. And here come the howls and the red eyes in the background. Again, there was wiggle room to do interesting shit with that.
Yeah, but they're not
like,
Robin Hood SEAL Team 6 on this. They wouldn't be able to handle all that. Plus,
these guys,
plus
they needed Sherwood 6. Believe that. All right. Had Sherwood 6 rolled up in here, we wouldn't have even had the Nancy Rambo thing. Which, dude, I mean, you did your service, dude. What are the odds that an 80-pound female just fires that rifle off on full auto with no recoil? Like, is she stacked enough to do that? Is that a doable thing?
Well, that rifle isn't full auto because M16. That's an M16A2.
You've discussed this before. She fired that bitch on full auto anyway.
Yeah,
maybe they modded it ahead of time.
Well, technically, I could fire
an A4.
There is no A4.
Yeah, whatever the most.
You have the M16 and the M16A2. Those are only two.
Not a 3 and a 4 there.
No,
I thought they had 3 and 4 of that. Whatever. So maybe they modded it their own to make it full auto. I don't know. Well, could she do that? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's not that hard. I mean, when I joined the army, I was only 119 pounds.
You're also a dude that was 18 years old. Got some biomass situations.
And I had women that were right there next to me doing the exact same thing I was.
Full auto fire? Oh, no, we just discussed this. I'd like to see that done full auto.
It doesn't have that. You think it has kick. An M16 that has no kick to it.
Doesn't you can keep it on firing on full auto have some recoil to it?
No, actually, mostly it just raises up. Holding it steady is the hardest part. That's not recoil. That is rise. Recoil is when it goes back into you. It's
rise, whichever. She kept it dead on target for fucking 900 unreloaded shots. That's all I'm saying.
It's really easy to do if you put in semi-auto and just pull your finger because you can shoot faster than what full auto.
No, dude, I get that. I'm saying they didn't take any of that. It kind of just looked weird, and I was waiting for her to break out like the Browning M60 with like one hand and then feed the fucking belt Rambo style because she looks strikingly like young Stallone in that get-up walking across the desert with the M16.
My only thing was that she had all the guns. She had the shotgun. She had
she had the shotty. Right. She had the flare gun. She had everything. Why?
Yeah,
what if she fell in a hole? What if she fell in a hole, dude?
Yeah, she should have distributed the arsenal a little bit more.
And I wouldn't have said shit about that, but they made a point of showing us the hideout in batch one of these episodes where they literally had the classic gun rack on the wall, different guns on the
Mm.
pegs of all different shapes and sizes and shit. I'm like, why are we bringing trash can lid shields? Bring more guns. Bring the fucking guns. I get it. Dustin wants to bring the spear, like sentimental shit. Fine, do that. Everybody else needs guns. Period. That's just how that is. It was
There
just weird.
What I would have done with it is have him with the gun, and he breaks off the end of the spear, and then he fits his bayonets with it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
so
dude, dope. Yeah. Yep,
it
yep.
would
Sold.
totally throw off your fire. When you
Yep,
have a bayonet on your rifle, it totally
mhm,
messes up your shot. Like, you have to take
yeah.
other stuff into calculation to get your shot right once you put that bayonet on there.
Because it adds a sick amount of weight to the front, so you get all
And
kinds of
it just
unnatural dip
and
to the
all
front and
yeah,
everything,
yeah,
right?
the
Yeah.
unnatural dip, and it's a little bit more, front heavy, so it's gonna go down more.
Yeah.
It probably would help with full auto to keep it
Yeah,
on,
yeah, the counterweight. Yeah, of course. Of course.
but usually when you fix bayonets, it's like you guys are, like, in knife fighting range at
Yeah.
that
I'm
point,
out I'm
so
out of ammo and we're boned. Yeah,
yeah.
I get that for sure. Oh, dude, I had another positive that I wanted to run by you because I know you're big into magic systems, but we don't typically talk about creature design a lot for whatever reason. I think we should going forward because I think there's something to be said for that too. A lot of people seem not to like that the Castle Grayskull skull hand thing they were trying to get to in the Abyss was actually the Mind Flayer itself, and it kind
Mhm.
of unfolded into kaiju mode. I thought that was pretty dope. I thought the creature design was solid there. I didn't
Mm.
care if it was taking a nap. I don't care if it was laying on its
It
back and it
wasn't a lot.
unfolded,
It was in
you
a
know,
hibernated state because
dormant
they
state or something. Right, that's what I'm
and
saying.
and that's why it needed those kids to power
Yeah,
it back up.
yeah, I can't
They're
find any
just
fault with that. And
batteries.
I thought the design was solid. Like I thought the textures on its face when it opened its face to a giant version of like Morgan mouth. I'm like, dude, that's pretty terrifying. I like that. That was pretty good.
Mm.
If you had any commentary on creature design there, so I said we don't usually talk about that, but I wanted to give it like a special. All right.
Yeah, I think the creature design throughout the whole thing has been pretty spot on. Uh, they made horrifying looking creatures, and the last
Mhm.
creature should have been horrifying looking, and it be a spider because we all saw when they first introduced Henry and his obsession with Black Widow spiders,
Right.
which makes more
I-
sense now because the
I-
Mind Flayer was living inside of him.
if that was a bit of a retcon to make that work for them, that was a wisely done retcon to get all that line up. What I appreciate most about this particular creature design at the end here is that they didn't do the giant smoke monster thing. They didn't
Mm.
go back and do a literal, oh, the thing Will saw when he was in the Upside Down in season one, it's finally back. You're like, no, this is its real form. Like, this is
Yeah,
it. Like, final form shit. So it made it look tangible and real, and like it had some weight to it because its movements were lumber clunky as it's like trying to run forward, which again, I don't get how those kids outran that thing. I thought it was smart when it put its arms down to kind of trap him in. I'm like, okay, I'm like clever beat. I'll take
yeah,
that.
that's a spider move right there that does
Yeah,
that.
trap and prey and shit. So I'm like, that's cool. I'll give it credit for that.
We've talked about some things that rubbed you the wrong way. The one that got me, and I just think it was a creative style type
I knew it.
thing. It
I
was
knew it.
the near Steve death when he falls off the tower when the planet hits the tower, which I
The
think that was
planet
a fun thing.
hits the tower.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think I'll ever say those words ever,
No,
but
that's why I wanted to just pause real quick for station identification and all that stuff, and just have you say it again. I'm sorry, you said when the planet
planet hit this
hit the tower.
tower.
Okay,
Yeah.
continue.
And it caused the rumble, and then you had the Steve hanging off the edge, and then his fingers let go, and then it goes to the black screen. And then it comes back for the black screen, and Jonathan caught him. I don't like the black screen. I think that is a cop out. I think that was to build tension
Yep,
that wasn't really there. We know
yep.
they weren't going to kill Steve because the brothers are cowards. They don't have it in them to kill off any of
They
their main characters.
can't kill their darlings. They absolutely can't. Nope.
They should think about that because characters do die in D&D. You can have clerics that bring them back to life. It's called revivify, and you also have full resurrect. So you could have that somehow, some way, but or just kill them
That's
off and let them go.
that's
I mean, you have
world
no problem.
breaking in their world.
Yeah, you have no problem killing off B characters,
Yeah.
but A characters, you're like, nope, we gotta
No.
plot armor as thick as titanium. But
Dude, unobtainium even. Like, I'll take you one up. It was like an unobtainium adamantium mix. They'll throw
with
in
some
some
vibranium wrapped around
with
it.
some vibranium inside. What's the one from the Norse mythology from the Allfather up there? The Urdu.
Yeah.
They got their own space metal also. It's all of that on all of these characters,
And
dude.
was it
Like,
cosmic brass from
yeah,
Percy?
it was a celestial bronze, I think it was
Yes, that
celestial
was it.
bronze.
Yeah,
Yeah,
celestial
it's
bronze.
got all this gangster and mithril. Don't forget that. All right,
Yeah,
we're gonna throw them
mithril.
all in. Got them all. It, it's like at this point, it's like it's the joke Michael Scott makes in The Office about the difference between Die Hard and Die Hard 4. We're like in Die Hard, John McClane's just some dude. He's running around barefoot. He's getting his ass kicked. He's getting his feet cut up. He's falling off of buildings and shit. But by Die Hard 4, he's jumping a motorcycle into the cabin of a moving helicopter and then commandeering the like it's weird. It's jumped the shark, the danger in this show.
Is
We're
that
like
Live Free or
literally
Die Hard?
whatever 4, yeah, because 3 was Die Hard with the Vengeance. So I think it was that one, Live Free or Die
Yeah.
Hard. At this point, it's like Hopper is John Wick. He can get shot, recover those wounds, take out elite spec ops guys. 11 can walk into a room of dudes, and if the sonic things aren't just instant, neck breaks all over the place. Nancy's a crack shot now too. Like apparently she's like the ballerina or fucking Haywire or fucking Ultraviolet. I don't know. She's any of those characters now. Don't know how. I get it. Like she started off, she was like, oh, I'm a decent target shooter. My dad taught me I can do some plinking or whatever. But like, no, dude, she's fucking spec ops now. Like she's a character out of like a novel, like Mary Sue style. Like,
And
okay.
I could see a little bit what they were going for with it is that they're D&D characters who
Yeah,
level up
leveled
and
up.
and get their skills.
Dude,
There's a few different themes that you could catch, especially in this final season, that they try to lace
I
in
can see
there.
that. I can see that when you say it. I wish though, I know I bitch often about when things are too on the nose, but I usually want to apply that only to like messaging and agenda and politics and stuff like that. Like if there's story bones that you want to make like a core concept of your meta story about it's a party literally that goes through growing a skill set and leveling up and becoming stronger. Like have one of the D&D nerds make an offhanded joke somewhere in the background, like a throwaway line that puts that thought in my head where I'm like, huh, Nancy is leveling up because she did have a year working with Hopper when the government closed their town down and they were underground resistance. Like they weren't guerrilla fighters at that point, but like Hopper probably did teach her some shit. Give me a throwaway line between Hopper and her that say, hey, not too bad on the range earlier. You're coming along. And I go, cool. Now she can shoot better. That's all I needed. But yeah, Steve, that cut to black, just to pull it back to your point, right?
Mhm.
The minute it cut to black, I'm like, not dead. Because if he was dead, he would have fallen through the red mist and just disappeared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He'd have been gone. Like the cut to black was like 3 seconds long. I'm like, either Jonathan has him or Will activated Will the Wise and did the telekinetic grab move. And as shitty as the scene is, I like that it's Jonathan that grabbed him for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
It had to be Jonathan, right?
It had to be
save him.
Jonathan. Yeah.
Right. So I was okay with that. But the execution, straight silliness. Dude, the execution of we need to climb the radio tower to see when the planet's coming in and then hope that a rift on the planet coming in lines up with the tower so we can climb through.
Yeah.
That's a reach, dude. That's a reach. Like you couldn't the helicopter plan was a better plan at that point. I'm sorry. It really was.
But
It
you would
really
also
was.
need at that point a helicopter size rift for them to get through
Yeah.
as well.
You're right, because it's not like you can just climb out the side of a helicopter and go anywhere but into the blades.
Yep.
Good point. Good point. But again, they needed the planetary body to line up with something less than the size of like a fucking microscopic pencil eraser in terms of scale to climb through.
At least
All right, whatever.
to give them credit though, when was it Vicky when she was freaking out with Max? It's like,
Yeah.
why haven't they called yet? It's like maybe because they're climbing a 500-foot tower.
Hey, Max was Max. Yeah, she broke that shit down. That was fine. That was Max let her know. Like that we've done this shit before. It's because they're climbing the 500-foot radio tower. That's why. I was okay with that. Yeah, I want to give them one more plus because I think they dodged a pretty big bullet plot wise here, and I'll get your take on this. I think a lot of people on Reddit, on YouTube, social media, just fan theory stuff, thought that given the political climate we live in, that given how a lot of stories have gone over the last decade where you can't just have straight up villains anymore, everybody needs to be empathetic. I'm evil because this thing happened. It looked like they were walking right through that door where Will's getting inside Henry's head and being like, fight it, you know, you don't have to do this, help us, we can help you, blah 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 blah. And this dude's
Mhm.
crying,
Yeah.
tears are coming out, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it, he's gonna join the party. Oh no, please no. And he's like, no, fuck you guys, I actually agree with this dude, I don't have to resist him, I chose this shit. I'm like, finally a bad guy. Thank you, thank
Mhm.
you for not pussifying this villain in this situation. Thank you.
It's true. It's true. Like he made the choice. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a lot about what this whole season's theme was their
Bad choice.
choice, what
Yeah.
they're doing. Like this
Mhm.
is how I'm moving forward. Oh, you're wrong, you're wrong. Yeah, but this is my choice. Let me
Right.
be wrong.
Yeah, it was a good mirror for Elle for sure.
Yeah. And
But I just
then
love that they avoided the pitfall. I'm so glad they did that.
yeah, and the other one is like them people facing their fears. Hopper's facing his fear of
Yeah.
11,
Mhm.
him facing his fear of coming out of the closet and what his
Mhm.
friends would do. Joyce's fear of letting her boy go, who disappeared 4 years ago, but letting him understanding that he is growing up and
You're right.
you can't sit there and control them. Nancy's fear about who to choose.
Becoming her mother.
Yeah,
Her baseline fear is becoming her mom
yeah.
and settling. Yep.
And then
100%.
I don't Steve and Dustin's fear. Well, we saw Dustin's
Losing each
fear.
other. 100.
Yeah,
It
losing
was
each other.
losing each other. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. And
And
Jonathan's obviously was not being good enough for Nancy.
yeah.
You know.
But did you notice that like every time they faced their fear, something good happened?
Mhm.
Like when Dustin and Steve's point got to a point where they're fighting. And
Mhm.
then Dustin comes after him, and like, of course, Steve's trying to be the hero, and he's putting that ladder on this
Oh
melted
yeah, on the
floor.
last match.
But
Yeah, yeah.
when Dustin finally like lets out his fear, I can't have it again. You can't have it again. Like
Mhm.
he vocalized his fear. He saves Steve because then the
Mhm.
ladder falls through. And
Yep.
then you have
Side note, real quick, that's still the best emotional beat in this season. There's nothing close to it.
yeah,
Nothing.
that was yeah.
Not even close. Yep.
Or go with Nancy and Jonathan when they finally actually sit down and talk, and they discuss, and they actually talked about their fears out
They
front.
talk so long.
The room stopped melting, and the
Right.
ground became hard.
Yeah, it re-solidified it, the melt. Yeah.
When Holly finally faced her fear, her door out into the we found out it's the abyss is where she
Mhm.
was.
Mhm.
The door opened.
Yeah, the season, I think that was the motif for sure throughout the season was choice. And I think but like I said, I wish that, dude, this would be one of those things, right? Where I'll get bored on a weekend off and I'll write up a couple of pages about the shit I would have done different, right? And I just see there's a couple of opportunities where it's okay to leave some business unfinished because it sets up that bittersweet ending with a little bit of tragedy. Like maybe Nancy and Jonathan shouldn't have reconciled because Jonathan died prior to the proposal, but then they find the ring later. Like that leaves words unsaid. That leaves some tension going forward. You know what I mean? If it could have been that Max is so broken physically and mentally from being in for 2 years that she comes out and can't cut it, and she makes some kind of sacrifice, and then you got Lucas dealing with whatever he's gonna go through. One of the Wheelers can't hang because the other one, I don't know, dude. It just seemed like there was an opportunity there for that kind of stuff because the ending is literally a mid '90s Disney ending of like clean sweep for the good guys. It really is
Yeah,
because
everyone
they're
got
even
their
in a
happy
spot where they're
happies.
okay with, right. They got the happy happies because the two main characters who are now going to be upset about Elle not being around, they've reached that same point. Hop's like, I've been down the ugly road. It kind of sucks. I know it's not my fault. I don't have to like it, but I accept that she made a choice. Like I get it. He's a grown man. He should be doing that. But Mike should struggle to get there. And telling the happy ending story, whether he wants to believe it or not, is he there already or was it too quick? It just, like I said, like you said, happy happies.
It was
Like
18
who's heard.
months.
Yeah, it was a year and a half. I mean, I guess that's fair, I guess, to a degree. But I'm like, is anybody here less than they were before? And no, they're not. Like Karen Wheeler can talk. She's not in a wheelchair. Ted's alive. Holly's got a group of friends. Dipshit Derek's probably not as big of a dick. Everybody got exactly what they wanted. And I don't know if that's because this show is so on theme with being like an 80s movie, like like it is the Goonies. So they, oh wait, we got the
Mhm.
marble bag treasure. We did win. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, like is that intentional? Do you think, or did they literally? I think I'm with you. I think they literally plot armored these assholes to +10 status, and there was nothing that was going to hurt them.
Yeah, and their THACO was like -20.
You know, so they're literally unhittable by anything. You know, like even during the battle with the mind flayer outside, like that's an opportunity literally to write Nancy out in a banger way that she made her choice to save people by being not the pushover wallflower nerdy girl
Or
that she was at the
or
beginning.
I'm this guy's girl. That's all I
Right.
am.
Right. There's what I'm saying. There was an easy op to write her out of the way where she says, I'll be the bait, and then do bait stuff, shoot the fuck out of it, have a couple of hero shots, and then at the last second, like you just run out of bullets and you're like, click, and then you look up and you're boned, but everybody else is where they need to be. And after you're dead, they go to town and hold the line until 11 gets there. They could have done that. They could have taken that move for all 15 of these characters, and it would have been better than, I think, clean sweep, everybody wins. It left it feeling kind of toothless to me. So that's what I got on that. But I know you want to talk about where Stranger Thing fits in the larger scope of
Yes.
streaming television, whatever we call it now.
Like,
What are you thinking? Where do you want to go?
So, well, Stranger Things is a cultural phenomenon, especially when it first came out in what 2016 was
16.
it was the 1st
Mhm.
season. I don't think I watched it in 2016. I think I watched it
Oh,
later.
me neither. I was 2
Yeah.
or 3 years late. I was
Yeah.
2 or 3 years into this at least, and then I got to catch up. Probably 2. I think I got seasons 1 and 2 together.
But
Yeah.
that was a lot of people. It was kind of under the radar until people
Mhm.
started finding in the word of mouth. I think that it took like 3 years for it to get out there, because I think it was like 2020 when watched it,
Oh,
or
you caught it really late
2019
then. Yeah,
or
you caught it real late
2019.
then. Yeah.
I think I passed over. Like, I remember seeing the thing for it. I'm like, yeah, just my
Mhm.
wife read something about this show and that we needed to. She's like, do you want to take a look at it? I'm like, we got nothing else going on. Let's watch it. And then we're like, okay, let's watch
Mhm.
the next one. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. And
That's
then,
kinda how it hit for me too. Yeah.
but that first season was amazing. But I mean, the impact of this show on culture and in the United States and the UK is crazy. I mean, just listen to this. Before this season was released, it already
Mhm.
had 1.2 billion views.
Damn.
Which that produced 8,000 production jobs and put $1.4 billion into the economy.
That's ridiculous, dude. I heard they spent something like 450 to 480 million on this season. So yeah, like that completely tracks. And I have a very similar experience with getting into the show too, where and you got to remember in 2016, Netflix I don't think was the giant original content powerhouse dumping ground
Mm-mm.
or channel that it is now. So I wasn't going to Netflix to find Netflix originals at that point. So I
No.
had a similar deal where I was at work. People knew I was writing a novel at the time, and people kind of knew where my interest in reading and TV lie. And they said, "Dude, if you're not watching this, you're really missing out." Because I'm a couple years older than that group of people anyway. They're like, "How you're like 80s, 90s guy? How are you not on this show? Like, how are you not explaining to us Dungeons and Dragons?" I've worked with a bunch of nurses. You know what I mean? So they're not playing
Mm.
D&D. You know, like, dude, what is the deal with this show? So like, dude, I went did probably exactly like what you were just saying. Went home, literally watched the first episode, and I was fucking sold like 10, 15 minutes in. Like, I didn't even get to any of the bad shit. I don't even think I got to Will Byers being Demogorgon napped. Like the kids played D&D and sounded like I sounded when I was 10 and playing D&D. You know what I mean? Having that
Mm.
the banter and the foul language amongst 12-year-olds, you know what I mean? Like I remember that. You know, and I remember and what hooked me was Will's honesty when they're all leaving, he tells Mike the Demogorgon got me. Like my die roll wasn't good enough. Like I rolled a 6 or whatever he said. And I'm like, okay, there's something genuine here. So I'm watching the rest of this. And by the time they get to the body out of the water episode, I'm like, I'm bawling down here in the fucking office like an asshole. Like, this is the best shit I've seen in like forever.
Yeah,
It was
it
really
was great.
easy to watch after that.
And you talked about D&D. D&D was, it was the nerd thing.
Yep.
People joked about it. They had a
Mhm.
really bad movie made about it, which I
Dude,
think
terrible.
it should get a second look, because overall the story was good. It was just poorly executed.
Did you just propose a new Winter Wolf Stand playlist? Second looks?
Maybe.
Did you? What? Who? What?
But since this has come
Market.
out, it
Yeah.
has raised interest in D&D by
Oh,
673%.
dude, hell yeah. Dude, these guys are making bank over there. Are they still Wizards of the Coast? Are they still the publishing
No, it's
branch?
oh yeah, Wizard of the Coast owns them now.
Is the
Yeah, because they
is the
were
publishing branch,
TSA.
right?
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. TSG. It was
yeah.
TSG, right?
No, TSA.
So whatever it was, it's Wizards of the Coast now. Dude,
Yeah.
those books are going for like $80 fucking now, right? They got decks of cards that are quick reference guides to creatures, to treasure chests, to spell ideas. They got template books to help you keep track of characters. They got all kinds of crap we didn't have, right? And they're all expensive. Dude, I just bought dice the other day because these kids in this damn house go through them like a mother flipper. They're looking like regular ass Winter Wolf blue dice. These are not officially sanctioned Winter Wolf's Den dice. They just happen to be ice blue. It was like $12. It's the cheapest set I could find at Barnes and Noble. You know what I mean? Like, no, they're making bank on nerds now because nerd shit is the cool shit now. I mean, you tell me again about Critical Role. You think
Yeah.
Critical Role could have existed in 1991 if we had the internet? No,
No.
not
But
a shot.
it exists today, and they owe a lot to this show of Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
Listening to this, Kate Bush got her first #1 hit in 2022 with Running Up the Hill, 38 years after its release from this show.
Ching.
Master of Puppets actually hit the UK chart for the very first time after Eddie Solo.
Yup.
And Ego had record sales during the first 2 seasons.
Which one was that?
Ego Waffles?
Egg because of her food, right? Yeah, of course. Dude, I think they did a tie over. I remember buying the box that had Demogorgon on it. Yeah. I'm almost positive, and the Eggo. I think they changed the logo into the Stranger Things font. Yeah. I'm almost positive I had those in my freezer. Yeah, for sure.
In Georgia, where they primarily filmed, right here in my state, they put $650 million into the state thing, hiring over 2,000 different vendors over the run of the show.
Not people, vendors.
Yeah.
Vendors. And that means 5, 6, 10, 20 people working for each vendor. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, dude, this show it's a force of its own. It's an economy of scale that rivals like certain third world, like South American countries. I'm sure the amount of money that's involved in getting this thing done.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. So it's had a huge impact. Like I have over here on my bookshelf behind the green screen here that I have their campaign, Mike's campaign from season 1. I have
Get out of here
with hold on a second.
Dude, I need to see this. Yeah, walk behind the sword, take a peek at that. I want to see that. See, this is the problem with broadcasting with King Z. He got all kinds of cool shit that he don't share until we're in the middle of one of these reviews, and then all of a sudden he finds cool shit and he shares it with you guys. Yeah, dude, that's awesome, dude. Tell me that was a Christmas gift from the Oracle.
Well, we kind of just I saw it and she just like, you need to buy that. I'm like, yes, I need to buy that. And it has the Demogorgon right there.
Awesome. I see it, dude. That's so dope. Dude, you know what I always wished? I was just saying this to Winter Wolf Pup the other day too. So why is there not a proper Stranger Things game? How has this not been a thing? Like, it like took it 15 years after all the Harry Potter movies were done to make Hogwarts Legacy. Tell me a game on Stranger Things doesn't work like that.
Well, it all falls into legal rights and stuff.
Oh,
like that.
I'm saying, but like, dude, sort it out, guys. Sort it out.
But do you want them to just rush a game out, or do you want them to take their time and develop a game that fits? I
don't want ET. I don't want ET. But I mean, like, they could do any number of games. They could do the Hogwarts Legacy thing. They could do the Telltale games where it's more of like the story-driven, choose your own adventure, little bit of you doing video game stuff, and it's basically just another episode. You make the choices, though. You know, there's all kinds of stuff. I don't want it rushed, but I just think it's curious that it's been 10 years and it hasn't happened. You know what I mean? You could have a writer strike. That doesn't mean that video game can't get produced. You can't do the voice acting, I guess, but somebody could have absolutely code and get the background, get the set, the character models, all that shit. You know, I just think it's weird that we haven't had one. Dude, where do you think they go next here? Like, we know there's going to be an animated thing. Do you think we get live action spinoffs? What do we get? We get Netflix original movies in 3 years, like the 5 year later movie. What do you think?
I think these characters are done. We will never see Steve again. We'll never see Dustin, Mike, any of them. I think if they do it, it will be a totally new story, maybe set in the 90s.
Mm,
And or we could even go further back, take it to the 70s, like where they found the stone and the first people, because you talked about it will consume you.
yeah, yeah.
So you did spin it back to there and like how that stone that has the mind flare in it or a connection to the mind flare. I think that would probably be the smartest choice to go to to
I like that.
to solidify the lore.
I like that. I think another way that I've kicked around a couple of just like writing prompt ideas in my head. I think I would like a spin-off show or a movie, whichever. I want it centered around another research facility elsewhere, but on the research facility, like the crap that they're working on, where somebody uncovers a conspiracy kind of thing. It doesn't need another group of kids playing D&D. Like focus on the staff, focus on the security team, couple of incursions into the abyss or somewhere. That's the other thing too. It doesn't just need to be the abyss. Maybe there's more. You know what I mean? If you can open the portal, you can do some crazy shit.
And
You know, so just take me
technically,
somewhere else.
the mind flare isn't dead. It's just put back into hibernation because all it did was the heart hardened like it was before.
I mean, fair. So you think hypothetically, if it reached out telepathically to somebody else and could get it to touch the stone,
Oh,
it could reawaken.
what is that theory they have where a meteor comes and it like kind of spores a world and brings it to life? One of the
Uh,
reasons,
Diaspora.
yeah, like how
Mhm.
they one people believe like how humans died on this planet.
Yeah,
Like this isn't our home planet. We kind of
it's why there's humans on Mars living underground, yada yada, like that kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, diaspora is the theory.
Yeah, they could go with the diaspora type,
Yeah,
thing
I'd be down. That's what I
where a
mean.
new meteor comes out with a new
Mhm.
stone connected to another planet. We could put it way in the future, and, like, they have to research to actually find
Mm.
what really happened in Hawkins. Like, they heard, like, the conspiracy theories start
Yeah,
coming
yeah, yeah.
out, and there's, like, a podcast guy who knows everything that happened to Hawkins,
Murray.
and well, Murray be dead, but
Mu
I'm talking about
Cryo. I don't know.
no, but maybe, like, an older Steve.
Yeah, yeah. You can do stuff
Or
like
a
that,
older
sure.
Dustin, or like they
Dustin's the play.
or
Dustin's
someone
the play there.
finds Mike's books,
Yeah,
and like this sounds kind of like what we're going through, and they have to do the research and figure out what
yeah.
they have to do, and to be like up in space in a space station, like you could put it like in
That's
like
wild.
2150.
Stranger Things 2099.
Yeah,
That'd be kinda dope. Yeah, I think that the show itself, because it's not a completely original thing. It's an amalgamation of 9,000 things from the 70s and 80s. Like,
yeah.
it's done well. It's that thing where we say there are no new ideas, but you take a creative spin, you put some like honest effort and some authenticity in it, and you have Stranger Things. You have stuff that feels familiar, but you write a couple of interesting characters that are based on stuff that people relate to from real life, like being nerds in the 80s. Yeah,
Hmm.
you write
Hmm.
in the one super powered character that you're like, oh snap, there's some wish fulfillment that's involved there, and that's your recipe for something creative. What you do beyond that, you can do whatever you want, but you definitely don't need to repeat the whole group of kids playing D&D, bump into an escapee from a lab, and there's a
Yeah, yeah.
town
Do
cop that's
something.
an
Do
underachiever, blah 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 blah
something
blah.
new.
Completely different. Yep. You just have to make everybody likably human, because that's the beauty of season one.
The
There are no
easy
bad characters in the show.
Yeah, the easiest play you have though is with the Holly's group that came down the stairs later. The easiest play
That's
there, and
the
I'll tell you
safe
how.
play. That's the
Well,
safe
well,
play.
no,
I
no,
don't like it.
but it has nothing to do with D&D. They have side effects from the thing stuck in their mouth for like 2 days.
But it's still just another group of friends thing. It's another group of kid friends, and now we've seen that like 3 times. We've done all of Stranger Things. We've done Welcome to Derry. We've done It times 2. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be. I'm saying I just don't want it to be another group of kids. That's how they would do it if they went that route, and that's the safe route. They absolutely will do that. That's why I was asking you, do you think they do a spin-off, one-off, like a movie? Would they do a story on Holly and that group in a 2-hour stint, or like a limited thing, like 4 episodes? I think that's safe. I think they
I
might
don't
do
think
that.
Netflix deals in 4 episodes. That's a Disney Plus throwaway.
You're right. They don't do mini series like that, do they?
No, it's usually 10. Like the
Yeah, they go
Netflix
yard. Yeah,
models
no,
is
they go
10.
yard. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And this would have gone 10 had they not done the mega long, like
Yeah,
the
if they weren't as
extra long
long as
runtime.
they were, they probably
Yeah,
could have split it into 10, but I think they
true.
wanted to do the longer episodes so they would have, less filming time.
And also that they didn't want the final episode to literally be the 45-minute wrap up because I
Yeah.
don't think that would have gone over anywhere near as well as it
Yeah, 'cause that
has
would have been like
for
2,
some
maybe
people.
3 episodes.
Yep. Yeah, no, that would have been not good for them. But yeah, no, I think Stranger Things, I want to see some numbers. I want to see what people are saying about this show in a week because the big question now is where does this rank in like the hierarchy of media that people remember? Like people still don't like how Game of Thrones ended. People still dunk on TLJ. We've seen the ratings for this season on the tomatoes. This is not a highly regarded season. That's I think on like 53, I think, on
I I
the
think
audience side.
I think one of the biggest issues is that everyone was expecting like the major blow up, the major
Yeah,
showdowns that have consequences, but there was no consequences.
right.
There was not
So I
even
mean, it's
in it. Oh, was it inattended consequences?
unintended. Yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah,
For
unintended
sure. But
consequences.
that's what I mean. I think that, and so this isn't even a thing where we can accuse people of it just wasn't really the story you wanted specific. Like, no, no, there's like some craft issues, like you just said, where you get in and out of dodge and you barely
Mhm.
take a scratch. Like it makes there's no weight there left at all. So I don't think this is going to leave a positive, lasting impression for people going down the line. I think people will always talk glowingly about season one. People will always talk glowingly about some of the side characters like Steve. They'll always talk about Dustin and Steve. People will always talk about Eddie because that's like a recency bias now, where he's like the most recent awesome thing
Yeah,
that the show had because he's better than
everyone
dipshit Derek,
everyone
you know.
felt bad about Bob when he died.
Yeah, and unless and until Joyce decapitated this dude, nobody mentioned his name. Not
Yeah.
once. I think Hopper mentioned it once in season 3 when Joyce was still getting over that, and
Mm-hmm.
that was it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll see what the future holds and how history looks back. I'll be interested to see what people saying about Stranger Things in 5 years. If no new content comes out, I think it'll be worth one of our a look back at kind of things and just see
Where it
where
stands
people
in
are at.
history.
Where it stands in history. True
Yeah.
that. Dude, any closing, words on Stranger Things season 5?
I
I
do
think we
think
covered it.
I think the final season, season 5, did wrap up the story. It might not be how everyone wanted it, but it was their story to tell. It was our job to enjoy it. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. If you didn't, you didn't. I sit in
Mhm.
the middle. Like there was parts where I was like, eh, but there was parts where I was like, all right, that's pretty good. So I sit in the middle on this one. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was excellent. I think you had to control your expectations with this one.
Mm.
But I think overall it was 5 good seasons that like wrap up a complete story. And I can say this is a complete story. So many series end and they're not complete stories. There's something left off. One, because they don't know if they're getting another season.
Fair,
And
fair.
then like what they did to Jericho, which was just a travesty to TV. But this one knew what it was and knew what it was about. It might not have ended the way you wanted it or the impact that it should have had, but at least they told a full, complete story, and you were entertained for 9 years. So
Well, give it the number then out of 10. Like, let's make this official.
overall, season
Yeah,
5 is a 5 for me. Overall,
okay.
Stranger Things sits in the 7.5 to 8 range.
Dude, I can completely agree on the series score of about an 8. I think a couple of seasons in there are mid to not good. It's season 3 that the Russian stuff I think just derails a lot of the interest that I had in the show. But there were some bright spots in that season as well. I actually enjoyed season 2. People fault that one all the time too. I'm like,
It's
no,
all
I
because of
thought
one episode.
it was okay. Right, right. And again, so if we remove that, it's still a decent episode. And I love the ending. I'll never
Mm,
not think that Hopper shooting Demogorgons with the M16 while Eleven's closing the rift is not a badass, iconic frame in my mind. You know what I mean? So I
mm.
got that. So I'll give it an 8. Nothing's perfect, really. So you got to take a couple points off. Dude, if you're giving season 5 a 5, that puts me in the unenviable position of having to score it lower because I did not enjoy most of what we just did. Dude, I think there's enough soulless acting against the green screen landscapey kind of things that I'm over in shows, and I was hoping this show didn't do that. We just watched Robin Hood and Welcome to Derry, and there's not a overabundance of those kind of sweeping bullshit landscape shots in either of those shows. So I'm spoiled. I think Vecna was largely declawed this year. He was a menacing dick in season 4. I didn't get any of that here. Go, you do.
Mhm.
Maybe you can interject if you got something. Go ahead.
The only reason I would say that is because he was defeated at the end of season 4,
Yeah,
so he's not back to full
they fought
power.
to a stalemate. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. But I mean, like even some of the intentional things where they should have been more terrifying, like when he made his play to go get Max in this season.
Mhm,
I feel like last season Vecna would have been more sinister about it. It would have felt worse,
mhm,
right? I think the bloated cast came back to haunt them. You throw plot armor on top of it, extra time devoted to characters. I didn't need more people involved, and you brought more in, and you elevated a couple that I honestly don't understand why Robin is a mouthpiece for this show. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. 3.5, 4, 4s. I feel like I'm being generous for the season as a whole because the landing outside of like literally the last 5 minutes of this did not work for me at all. Like I said, the Joyce Hop thing solid. The last D&D game very good.
mm,
It was a good send off there, and I like that the kids sold it and they made that work. But overall, nah, this you could watch literally season 1 of this show and end it there. You're talking about complete stories. 11 kills the Demogorgon, disappears with it. Town goes back to normal. That's your story. So you guys don't have to take it from us, though. Go check out the show. Let us know what you think in the comments. We have the other two episodes of this also for batch 1 and batch 2 of the
mhm.
episodes as they were. Let us know where you think this show fell short. Did they stick the landing? Is this everything you wanted? Are you good with the clean sweep of happy happies, like King Z called it? Boy, Winterwolf was not. That might have been made abundantly clear in the last hour and 22 minutes. But that's only because I did love the show so much coming into this year. And I was all aboard the hype. I told you this in like October. I'm like, dude, I can't wait for this fucking show to come back. I have a feeling they're going to do it. And it just, I think we're being honest. You gave it a 5. It definitely underperformed, and we don't have to hammer it all the way into the ground. I might have overplayed and said, it's worse than the Game of Thrones ending. It's probably not that bad, but season wise, I have the same bad taste in my mouth now that I had when that season of that show that I love wrapped up. I'm just like, no, fuck it.
Mm.
Not a fan. So, all right, dude, you can say goodbye to the people, and we'll go do some other things.
Bye, people.
There he goes.